High-end hotels advertised as luxurious five-star accommodations. Some as pricey as $700 a night.
We learned state employees are staying at those hotels paid for by someone else's hard-earned retirement money. KITV's Sarah Navoy investigates.
Pennies, nickels, dimes. For retired teachers on a fixed income, every bit counts.
Flip coupons and look for sales, shop at Ross, TJ Maxx.
Without a livable wage increase in the last 15 years, teacher of 31 years, Vicki Harrison, was forced to retire from retirement.
I'm working a second job. I probably will do it until I can't physically.
Which means for Vicki, staying in places like this,
well, I would love to go there, I'll say that,
is the stuff of dreams. Dreams critics argue a handful of employees with the teacher retirement system are living and breathing on the taxpayers' dime.
I have to think that there are probably less costly options.
Less costly than this. The Ritz in Madrid, $551 a night. The Hilton in London Hyde Park, $689. Or what about the Four Seasons in Hong Kong, coming in at a whopping $709 a night? They're all hotels we discovered portfolio managers and chief traders for the TRS are calling home while overseas. Many of the hotels labeled online as luxurious or five-star.
I think that anytime you see, more than $500 being spent on a hotel room, you have to ask yourself, is it worth the price of the trip?
Tim Lee works on behalf of more than 300,000 retired teachers in Texas. His goal, to ensure their trust fund is handled wisely.
Every penny does count. I mean, we calculate the value of this pension trust fund, down to the penny.
When we showed Lee what we found,
why the Four Seasons?
He had questions.
Is that the best use of our pension trust fund dollars?
And more questions.
This is, their livelihood, and they want to know that the dollars are going to be there for them while they're retired.
Wow.
State watchdog Penny Venable has concerns too.
I looked down this list and I don't see any Days Inn or any Holiday Inn or hotels that most of us would be staying in.
Venable calls the TRS's spending shocking and disturbing.
This is truly a betrayal of the taxpayers' trust.
Through our investigation, we learned many of the trips to foreign countries were for conferences and board meetings. Documents also list due diligence as a reason for the travel.
I would love to see TRS people defend this spending. It'd be tough to do.
Coming up after the break,
some of these hotel rooms look pretty pricey.
We sit down with the head of the TRS and ask for an explanation.
It sounds exorbitant to me. I mean, I look for, the cheapest hotel I can find.
Just before the break, we introduced you to Vicki Harrison, a retired teacher pinching pennies and upset about the foreign travel spending we uncovered in the teacher retirement system. Who manages her money? $600 and $700 a night hotels in Paris and Tokyo. Now, KITV Sarah Navoy sits down with the head of the teacher retirement system to ask some tough questions.
Weeks after our initial request to sit down with TRS, Executive Director Brian Guthrie,
we kind of did a deep scrub of our travel.
Agreed to an interview.
Some of these hotel rooms look pretty pricey. Would you say that is responsible use of tax dollars?
Well, I would say that just with that context you provided, absolutely not.
Guthrie agrees the high costs and fancy titles seem alarming, but says there is good reason. Foreign travel is necessary to meet with investors and get the best bang for a retired teacher's buck. The TRS says about 15% of all trust fund money is the result of foreign investments, generating approximately $2.6 billion in revenue in 5 years. Additionally, Guthrie says oftentimes the client pays for the first few nights at a hotel, then the TRS employee stays a night or two more to continue doing business.
It would be inefficient for the person's time to have to try to find another hotel.
But what if another hotel was just across the street or a few blocks away? In the case of the $700 Hong Kong hotel, we found several close options for less than half the price.
But if it's the difference between $700 a night and $150, $200 a night. Wouldn't you say that's worth it?
I would say that in that context, it would be worth it. Perhaps that might have been a better opportunity for us to reduce costs, and that's a lesson learned.
Guthrie says in other cases, hotels were pricey or in limited supply because of other major events going on in the city. If you ask someone like Vicki, that reasoning doesn't hold much weight. But to the president of the Texas Retired Teachers Association, Fran Plemons, the travel expenses we uncovered were no problem.
Does that concern you?
No, it doesn't concern me because I have faith in the TRS system.
Guthrie says being responsible with trust fund money is top priority, but even he admits
we can do better.
After bringing the expenses to their attention, Guthrie says they'll be scrutinizing every detail. As for Vicki, she says she expects nothing less, down to the penny. The TRS tells us that last year the average hotel room rate per night was about $190, but we found when calculating that average, the TRS included the zeros for nights paid for by companies trying to attract their investment money. When we crunched the numbers for rooms solely paid for by the TRS, we found the average rate is closer to about $300. Reporting, Sarah Navoy, KITV News.